Close the door.
If you like to talk about combat sports and you want to join the discussion, click the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon next to it and join Knucklehead Nation. Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, thank you so much for joining the FightersRep podcast. I'm your host one more time, the FightersRep, and today with me I have a legend of the fight game, somebody who didn't just stop making his name in the fight game, but also was able to capitalize on his popularity, take it to a movie and an acting career, and just do a fantastic job post, I guess, MMA career. I'm here with Cung Le. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on your show.
Cung, what an absolute pleasure to have you on, man.
Yeah, it's this is my first time on your show. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of questions you throw my way.
We'll have a ton of them for you, Cung. First and foremost, Cung, you were such a special fighter, and not everybody has the ability to do what you did and kind of take the momentum they had in their fight career and transition it successfully into another career. What do you think are the qualities that you need as a fighter to be able to do something like that?
I believe it's a little bit from the heavens and being blessed, but at the same time capitalizing on the way you fight, and people enjoy the fights and the risk that you take. And you can't just take the risk inside the ring or the octagon or inside the cage. You have to take the risk, outside of, like what you want to do next in your career. I just happened to, the few opportunities that I had, I made the best of it. So I made sure I went in there and I was prepared. I started taking acting lessons, and then I got a private coach, and I was, working just like I would prepare for a fight. I would prepare for the film that I was doing, whether it's a small part, a medium part, or the lead of the movie. I would train the same way I would train for a fight. And when it came into it, I just I felt like I did a really good job. The producers, the directors, they all enjoyed working with me, and I was pleasant on set. I wasn't, I didn't have any issues, and if there's any problems on set, I was, one to, handle it or take care of it myself, instead of like running and making things difficult on the the production assistants or the people there trying to make you happy and keep you make sure you're taken care of.
Yeah, so you mentioned, producers and directors. You didn't just act, right? You've done some producing yourself as well. Is that right, Cung?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's Hollywood. It's not a platform for the Asian or like minorities that that come up. If you're a fighter, you're coming in, you're either stereotyped, and it is what it is with Hollywood. They stereotype you. So I started producing some of my own stuff, and I think teaming up with the right writers and the right people that will get behind you and push you. I think that was key. I got a really good agent. My manager. It was just hit and miss, and then I went through a whole bunch of the manager, but I'm still with the same agent, Brett in Orangeburg. He manages like Eco. He's an agent to Eco. A lot of action guys out there.
It's interesting you touched on the way you were stereotyped in Hollywood. That's something that I've heard several times, if I'm being honest with you. Can you kind of delve into that a little bit?
I'm Asian. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds, so I make a good bad guy. But at the same time, you can only play so many bad guys until you run through all whenever you have an opportunity to play the lead lead villain like in a big Hollywood film, then you jump at it. But I started getting a lot of offers for like a lot of like the B movies and getting killed by the hero, and stuff like that. So after a while, I think 2 years ago I got best villain. So I figure, I better take a step back
Wow.
and kind of revamp my characters, and then I'm very creative. I taught myself how to write my own scripts, so I got a couple scripts going, one for TV, two for the films, and then I feel like I needed to get to what people are interested in, and pop culture nowadays they're into like someone like a John Wick, but then they're into like end of the world stuff, because look what's happening right now.
Right,
If
right.
if you read the Bible, like this could be considered as one of the plagues, but it's not really as serious as like the Spanish flu or you know um,
Yeah.
some of the others. But I think what how the quarantine is going, it's kind of crazy, so you just got to go with it, and then take advantage of the situation, and then create something around what people are interested in, and at the same time put a project together and make them aware of, hey, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of Mother Earth, what's going to be left, what's next.
I mean that's something I can definitely appreciate. Why do you think they were only hitting you up to play these villain roles? I mean, you've got this incredibly dynamic background. You've won so many championship titles from the IKF to the ISKA to Strike Force. You were an all American. I mean, you were an American wrestler. They can kind of work all those angles to probably get you a better role. I mean, why do you think they were concentrating so hard on this strange villain role?
Because I'm not white,
Yeah.
so I'm not white. So like I said, it's like in this world, sometimes it's the opportunities that you make for yourself, and some people have faith in the Lord, and you go down that path, and I feel like that's what I do. That's what I'm doing, and I'm not going to put it in some Hollywood producer's hand, to do that. If it doesn't happen, then it wasn't meant to be for me. So I'm going to keep writing, I'm going to keep producing, and I'm going to keep raising funds for the films I want to do, that I want to make. That means something to the young kids, and also the Asian people, and also how to unite with each other in this world, or fall apart like you see the racism going on right now. It's only getting worse.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely with this pandemic. I mean, have you seen anything since this pandemic went down to kind of make you think about this some more?
Yeah, well, between Next Shark, Asians Never Die, these are all like social media platforms. Um, Asian menswear, Jack Foss, all those websites get behind the Asians that are being, bullied, that are being, you know, abused by different nationalities, that are upset because of the coronavirus. So, as soon as I stepped up, me again, I walk to the store, or I go inside the store, I'm picking up food for my family. I rarely ever get any, one mouthing off. I get a few people looking at me, and I look them right back at the, in their eyes, and they look down, and there's only one other incident that these guys, they're trying to like go faster, and I'm just going normal speed limit, and I got my son in the back, and my girlfriend spraying, in the passenger side. So it's like, why do you need to go reckless? You're not going to get, if you get to, like, if I get to my house any faster, you know I'm not in any rush, so I'm just going to be safe and get them there. But these guys are like really, you know trying to speed and trying to like tailgate me right and like get bumper to bumper. Like literally, if I hit the brakes, they would hit me, and then they
Wow.
spin and they pass me up, and then they pulled in front of me and they slowed down. And my son was in the car, so my son was already, what's these guys' problems, and I'm like, hey, be quiet. And as soon as I saw there was a turning lane left and they pulled up, they could have made it, but they stopped. So I knew I was going to pull up. My window was already down, so I
Yeah.
pulled up right next to them. And as soon as I pulled up next to them, they saw my presence. I'm a big Asian. So as soon as they saw me, they hesitated for a bit, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Excuse
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
Vietnamese,
Yeah.
but
No,
they
you can
started
say
swearing.
whatever you like, Kung. You can
Yeah,
say
so they
whatever.
started swearing, and then I just waited till they got done. I'm like, "Hey, road rage causes high blood pressure. High blood pressure causes heart attack. Someone like you look like you're gonna have a heart attack, And then he like they didn't know what to say. And I started talking about health and nutrition, and they're like, "What, you eat healthy?" I said, "Oh yeah, organic." And then so their light turned, and I said, "Hey, light's green." And so as they're taking off, they're like, "Hey, fuck you! You brought coronavirus." And I said, "Whatever." So I just
Oh
drove
man.
off, and then they drove off. But like literally, you know, I saw, it's all about situational awareness, right? The driver, I saw his reaction first when I said something like that. All their mouth dropped. I saw the guy in the back. The guy in the back was probably a kid my son's age. So it's like it would have been two versus one, and my son would have probably dumped the other kid on his head, and it would have been probably quick hurt, and then I would have got hit with a big hospital bill.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
instead of like fighting fire with fire, my son actually got a chance to see me just you know um, neutralize the situation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then handled it by just talking about something health related.
Right, right. That's
So yeah.
that's a hilarious story, Cole. Why do you think this happened? Though? I mean, were these guys targeting you while you were driving?
No, they were just again road rage.
Yeah.
They're trying to pass me, and I wasn't gonna slow down or speed up. I was just driving, right, and then when they pulled up, of course they saw that I was Asian, so they took advantage of the situation, and because of what coronavirus has already started, with Trump saying it's a Chinese virus, and so it is what it is, and you just gotta live in today's time and maneuver through the roadblocks the best you could without any conflict if you could.
I'm glad you bring up the Chinese virus thing, Kung, because I think that's just so over the top, man. I think that's just so over the top, and I hear that, and I'm not sure if you've heard the defense for that. The defense for that is people are saying stuff like, well, there was, the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, which is the MERS virus.
Mm-hmm.
So what's wrong with calling it the Chinese virus? But it's not the same thing, right? Because the name of the actual virus is the coronavirus. It's not called the Chinese virus.
Yeah.
Whereas MERS, the actual name is Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. It's not known as the Middle Eastern. That's the actual name of it. He's actually changed the name.
Yeah.
So and people who use that term have actually changed the name, which I don't see how that's defensible.
Like it definitely caused like a big ripple with the Asian community, because around the world, as you can see, all the crosshairs were on the Asian people. But the sad thing about that is, Asian people are naturally small, and um, they're hardworking people that really want to mind their own business, and now they're victims. So, um, you know, that was not a good way of just handling things and creating that. Maybe he didn't know it until after he said it and he saw the ripple, effect that he caused. But you know, it's already done. It's already been said. There's nothing that you can do. You can't go back in time and change it. So now we just got to deal with the racism and then how to manage it and then how to control it from getting any worse.
This sounds like something you've dealt with for quite a long time, Kung. Am I right about that?
Oh, definitely. I came over to this country, and praise the Lord. Thank you for being saved by the American soldiers and the American government and giving me a place. I came over here. My first refugee camp before we left Vietnam was in the Philippines. Then another refugee camp in Guam. Then in somewhere in Monterey, there was another refugee camp. So I've been in three refugee camps before. My family got up on their feet. My grandfather was a government chief of police for 5 different cities. He would be like a colonel's rank in the army. So we got lucky that we got flown out of Vietnam by helicopter or airlifted, and then instead of going by boat or crossing into Thailand or Cambodia and trying to save our life that way. So we're very fortunate. But it's um, this United States is it has every nationalities. It's just happened to be there's more racism here than there is in other parts of the world. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, you mentioned, coming over from a refugee camp, coming to the United States. I'm sure, obviously, coming from another country, coming from another culture, it's benefited you in many ways in making it and being successful in the things you've done. How do you attribute your culture to your success? What did you take from your culture and apply to your life to get to where you are now?
Well, first of all, when I was two when I left Vietnam,
Okay.
so culture wise, I missed out on a lot of my culture growing up. So from the age of two, going through refugee camps, it was definitely a change. And um, then growing up in America, where there is really no traditional, like an Asian
Right,
culture,
right, right.
there is really none. There's, it's like,
You kind of
you
create
know,
your own depending on where you're at.
yeah, yeah. So um, I felt like it's just a part of what my mom and the family was able to maintain with the tradition in me. And of course, I think, you know, my faith in the Lord is very, very strong. And, I've been, a man, or at the time, faith, a teen, of faith and a man of faith. And then, so my mom and my grandfather really instilled that into me. So I think that helped a lot. Just having faith, having faith. And, of course, a lot of people, well, I don't hear and answer back. Well, there's all kinds of signs, So you just got to see the signs and then, you know,
Was
believe.
was your family, were they, I guess, Christians in Vietnam?
They were Catholic in Vietnam, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And you came over here and continued that tradition?
Yes, that was what was left instead of our Vietnamese culture, which, we still live as Vietnamese. We didn't change much, but we lived in America and we had to adjust to the American way and we had to adjust to the American language. But then, um, my grandfather and with the help of my mom always kept the religious part of the upbringing and with me and teaching me as much as possible. And then now I'm just kind of revisiting all the Bible studies that I forgot about. So now it's back, and faith is stronger than ever.
What
So
kind of got you to want to come back and revisit that?
well, believe it or not. Actually, my girlfriend Spring, she's very religious. Her mom is very religious, and they pray before they eat, which I used to do, and then I kind of let go with kind of like my past relationship with my ex, and now I found Spring. She definitely got me back on that path, but at a higher level.
Yeah. Kung, you mentioned, growing up in the United States. I mean, how was that as a young Vietnamese kid whose family had come over from Vietnam? How was it growing up here in the United States for you?
It was a fight every single day. It was a fight because when I started understanding the English language, I was able to understand what the other kids were saying, and there's a lot of kids still upset because no one really explained to them what happened to their uncles or their dads, or their relatives that got killed in Vietnam. No one really explained it, and and we were saved by them, but at the same time, when we came over and grew with the culture and then became part of the American people, we stood by the African Americans, we stood by the other cultures and supported them through their hardship. And now, when it's now because of the Chinese virus, the crosshairs on the Asians, and and like it's all you know because the American culture, they don't teach their kids the right way, and what a lot of people forget is it's not the American land. The American people, they are just part of something because they stole the native land. This is not even their land to claim. They stole it. So it's because my girlfriend's Apache,
I
and
see. I see. Okay.
so
Okay.
I understand a lot more. And if you really dig into certain things, you can understand yourself too. So a lot of people take life, and a lot of people take their lifestyle for granted. Now you're under quarantine. You're restless. I'm enjoying it. I finally get a chance from slowing down, not like every day when I wake up, next thing I know, I blink my eyes and it's nighttime and it's almost time to go to bed. So I'm like, wow, I've never rested so much. I never been able to just train so much for myself and do so much stuff for me, and then being with my family, and we all very tight, and then why not? This is the best time. Get into the Bible studies, and then you understand, because really the Bible, Jesus says, read my words,
Yeah.
understand my
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
So people can say whatever they want to say. I care less. It's like two of these.
Kung,
You don't
Kung.
like what Bible stuff? They call me Bible thumper. They kiss my ass. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's the sad thing about this is when they're on their deathbed and they have that 5 minutes left, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, please save me."
Right.
Well,
Right.
you
Right.
shouldn't have denied God then. Back then, you should have been with it, because then you'll be ready to go. Take me.
Right. Right. Right.
So, but
Well, I mean, so you've got some people that are, upset with you following religion, following the religion you've been born into.
no, I just got a lot of people upset because I'm standing up for the Asian people, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the natives, and
Yeah.
I post about them, and it's look at the water rights, their land, that was they actually picked the land that they wanted to keep because of certain things on it, and now it's the government's trying to take it back, and it's just like, man, it's like, how much more is this world that we live in, that Mother Earth is going to be able to sustain, and like with everything like going on with all the corruption in even law enforcement corruption, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the business and the corruption in government and CPS and the whole picture. How much more is this is before something snaps, before the earth, really fights back.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just,
You know,
you
you
know,
sound despite sounding clear-headed, you sound very clear-headed, but you also sound disappointed. And I totally understand that. I totally understand that. You know, I actually, Kung, I work in the legal field as well as being a promoter. And you
oh
sound
yeah,
yeah, and you sound quite disappointed. And I must say, I've been disappointed. I think at least a million times since I became a lawyer. I also wanted to say that I guess as far as morals and principles go, we're not too different. My family also is Catholic from another country. I was first generation born here. And I feel a lot of that disappointment as well. And for me, I wanted to get your opinion on this. For me, I feel like people kind of act without a conscience a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it's in the name of money. It's in the name of money. Um, I don't know. Is that something you wrestle with a lot? Because that's something. It's just a random thought. It's something I wrestle with a lot. You know.
well, I think for me, what you're fighting with. Yeah, I feel like it's just a small part of the picture, right? Because there's so many layers to this. There's the layer of the people that do things because of the money, but then the people do things because of the power that they have,
Right.
and then the people that do it because they think they can get away with it. So and I've experienced, kind of like the three different realms that I just spoke about. The first one is, of course, the money. I just going through my own divorce is like, whoa, you don't really know your ex until you sit across from the courtroom with her,
Yeah. Wow.
and then what I've sacrificed from her and my family when we are together was greater than what she would ever understand in life, and then kind of like, like with the the things that she can spin, and because she's a female and I'm an MMA fighter,
Right.
it's
Right.
crazy what the CPS and the system is not willing to do when all the evidence is there. And then there's a layer of, here's law enforcement. These are the people you expect to protect you. I'm not talking about all law enforcement. I'm talking about for my girlfriend.
Sure. Sure.
She's from Kentucky, and she's from a small town called Boyd County, and it's part of Greenup, and there's like so many different counties around there. And her ex happens to be a deputy sheriff who's supposed to serve and protect. And wow, I mean, the corruption that goes on, from racketeering to judges that will sign stuff to CPS in on the whole thing when you have all the evidence in the world. And in a way, they got lucky because this virus came in and we were ready to hit them hard with press, with like lawyers, with the whole 9 yards. And they got luck. They lucked out a little bit. But you know what? I got to take a step back, and instead of like wanting to go at it really hard, it's God's plan. So I took a step back and I said, I understand this is your plan. It's not my plan, right? I got to go with your plan because, if it was my plan, I'd be like, I should have done this. I should have done this. There's a lot of should have, but it happened. I don't want to look back, because if I'm looking back, I'm not looking forward. So right now I'm going with God's plan and the corruption. And as you know, look at all the stuff that's going on. Just in California, the state that we live in, the Sunshine State, the Marines captured a bunker with over 2,000 kids. Well, what were those 2,000 kids being used for?
Right. Right. Right.
Have you heard of that?
I didn't hear about that, but I'm well aware of corruption. I'm definitely
Yeah.
well aware of corruption, brother.
And
What happened there? Do you have any details about that?
not much, but as you know, just you gotta understand that what kids are being used for, whether it's a sex trade, whether
Oh
it's
yeah. Oh
all
yeah.
kinds of crazy shit that you don't even, like, a lot of people will turn a blind eye and they'll stay in their bubble. And that's why we live in the world that we do, because only a handful of people are willing to be like, let's take a little step out of our bubble. Let's see what's going on. Excuse my Vietnamese again. Holy shit! This is the world we live in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wake up. Coffee's been burning off the stove for a long time. You just haven't been able to smell it because you're in your stupid bubble. Get the fuck out of your bubble. Do something before it engulfs you. And so I'm doing things. I am living in my own movie.
Yeah.
And everyone right here, whoever's in quarantine, you're living in your own. You're living in your own movie too. It's what you make of it. It's what you do with it. You're like, well, most people are like, I'm pissed off. I can't work. I'm running out of money. Well, so is everyone else in that class, right? So the clock is going to keep ticking, and you're going to keep sitting as the ones that step out and try to make the difference.
Yeah.
That's in the end, you can only try, and then you can look back and say, I did everything I absolutely could, and your soul will be able to rest in peace.
Inspirational words from a legend, Kung Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, this is the FightersRep video podcast, also known as the Keep It Clean podcast. And me and Kung here are trying to clean things up. So please subscribe, hit the bell notification icon if you haven't. Anything you guys ever donate to the channel or any FightersRep gear you buy in the links below, it all gets reinvested right back into FightersRep promotions and us continuing to build the channel and the brand. Speaking of which, Kung, let's just go off topic briefly. You've got this shirt on. One world, it says, one enemy, one fight. What are you trying to tell us with that, Kung?
So with Evoke Tactical, I've teamed up with Evoke Tactical. I teamed up with Bat Tactical, Bay Area Tactical, and Aurora Apparel. So every shirt, every bag, a big chunk of the proceeds will go to the first responders, or your responders, like as in the medical field, right? For the mask and the cops that keep you safe. We, of course, we also give the mask to all the good cops, but then there's a few cops out there. I'm talking directly like Kentucky.
It happens. It happens. It sounds like well. First off, where can people get that gear, and get that stuff to support you and your cause here?
Well, it's actually not just my cause, but it's everyone's cause, right?
Gotcha.
Until you become that victim, until you're in that hospital fighting for your life, and because your immune has taken a hit by coronavirus, or some other shit that you don't know about, then you're like, man, I should have been doing other stuff because I was in my bubble. But you can go to evoketactical.com, and if you order things there, there's links on there. You can go, or you can go to my my Instagram page, and then go to Evoke Tactical and then get their handle and then their address, their website's on there, and then whatever you buy, we give back. That's the goal, and a lot of people are getting behind that. In this fight, we're helping everyone. We're not just helping Asians, we're helping everyone. And even though the crosshairs are on the Asians right now, we're going to rise above the hate, and like cream rises to the top.
Yep.
All the other nationalities, we need the good people. The cream rises to the top, and let's unite. Let's unite, because why stand divided and fall apart?
Right.
We can unite and hopefully save a life or save the earth.
Very inspirational stuff. And knuckleheads, if you guys want to support Kung Lee and Evoke Tactical. His handle for Instagram is right there on your screen. It's at Kung Lee 185. Definitely go give him a follow and show some support for this fantastic cause. Let's kind of backtrack and go back to what you were telling me about Kung. You mentioned CPS a couple times. If you even want to go into that, but you mentioned it a couple times, so I would be remiss not to ask you what the deal is with CPS.
Well, I mean, CPS here, they're okay. They, everyone needs a little work when it comes to it. No one wants to take, that step, or But in my girlfriend Spring, she had her two kids taken, and it's like literally everything in a movie that you can imagine: falsifying documents, lying, perjuring. I mean, racketeering, from the judges to the CPS workers to the handful of deputy sheriffs. It's like crazy. So I'm completely behind Sunshine Spring Fitness. If you go to her Facebook page, and you can see her on my Instagram as well. Someone already created a GoFund page for her, and we're getting a lot of support. We're getting a lot of media for her, because we're going to hit the media. Because in the meantime, you cannot win in Kentucky, because the judges are crooks over there. And then eventually these guys who are corrupt, it's gonna catch up, and karma is gonna catch up with them too, because since my girlfriend stepped up and we started going live and we started getting press. Wow, so many other victims have come to us with similar stories, with some more outrageous stories, and it all comes down to the same judge, the same group of deputy, sheriffs out there that are crooks, and they're like operating as like criminals, like they're a little gang. There's like 20 something of them running around, supposed to be law enforcement, serve and protect, but instead they're beating up people and then getting lawsuits on them for handcuffing someone and beating them up, breaking someone's arm. There's like, it's all documented. So what I'm doing is I'm just stating what's already out there on record. I'm not making anything up. It's out there. If you look up Boyd County, the jail system's messed up. I mean, all kinds of corruption, and all these poor victims, all these poor moms. Some of them haven't even seen their kids for 10 years.
Wow.
And so it's like shame on our system. It's not sorry. Let me take that back. Shame on these people, because the system works.
Yeah.
The system was put in place to protect and serve the people. It's these idiot morons that think they're above the law that are causing the system to be shit.
Right. And that's totally understandable. We've actually got some people in the chat. A couple of them are saying things here, so I wanted to read those off. One guy named Lost One, thank you for joining us, Lost One. He actually wrote, and this was back when you were talking about those guys that were having the road rage incident with you. He says that you should have drop kicked them through the windshield. But I actually think the way Kung handled it was a lot smarter and better than that. Because like you said, Kung, I mean, you being the fighter, you being the celebrity, you're probably going to be the one stuck with a hospital bill if that kind of thing went down. So
then it'll also cause my son to drop kick other people. I mean, he's only 15 years old. He's already training with the amateur fighters, and he gets a lot of work from pro fighters, because they all want to work with him, because he's a really great kid. And he's gonna be a force to reckon with. But I want to make sure when he goes out there, even though he's not like a deputy sheriff or whatever, I want him to serve and protect the people that need to be protected. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. If you're white, if you're a redneck, and you're a good person, and you're on the road, and your car is broken down, and I'm the one driving by, and you're like screaming for help, I will be the one stopping to help you. But I also know there's a lot of those criminals that fake like they're on the road that need help, and they're crying for help so someone can stop so they can rob you. Trust me, that I know about all that, and I'm just start posting stuff on my YouTube page and my CALI Instagram and all my social media to teach people about situational awareness, because a lot of people don't know. And I think more people should become hard targets so there's less victims and more of these criminals are getting caught.
I appreciate
Even
that.
though I hope the jail system that we have provided and we pay for doesn't get too full and people they start letting criminals out like they've been doing.
Right. They have been doing that. You mentioned being a hard target. I'm assuming that's what made you get into martial arts. I mean, you didn't want to be a pushover, I'm sure. Or what was it that pushed you into martial arts, Kung?
Well, first, I think it was my mom, because I was getting my butt kicked a lot every day when I was coming home. I was that kid that fought back, so they kept beating on me, and I'd come home with bloody noses and stuff like that. And I think my mom got tired, and the only thing that she knew was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sign you up to do some martial arts so you could, defend yourself." And but it's just it's the world we live in, and if the parents taught their kids right, there wouldn't be that much bullying, because of course you can't avoid it all. You can't, there's going to be some kind of bullying out there. It's just there's not even 50% of the world's population is teaching their kids right. Everyone's so worried about providing food on the table, they forget about teaching their kids, or teaching or living a certain, with integrity anymore. It's all about how you make that money and how you survive now. It's, but, again, if I don't get this message out there, you can hate me, you can love me, whatever. I don't care. And,
Kung, I love that message.
Thank you.
Kung, I must say I love that message. What you just said right there, is something. And again, I think this might be cultural as well, because my parents, they kind of look at our society now and they tell me, man, these parents don't spend any time with their kids. How are these kids going to be raised if the parents don't have the option to spend time with them? And, I reflect on, unfortunately, these school shootings, that we see all the time. And I say to myself, man, if that kid's dad or that kid's mom would have just sat with him, spent more time with him, maybe there's something that could have been done there.
Yeah. Well, again, like what I've been saying for a while now, it's like a lot of parents, they want the best education for their kids. Every parent should want that. But what all the parents out there, I'm not talking about all the parents. I'm sure some parents are thinking on the same level, if not higher than what I'm thinking. But I want the best survival education for my kids, because this world is not getting any better. I don't see it. I don't see it. It'll get better around what I'm doing around my environment, but I wouldn't trust my sons or believe it or not, I'm a granddad, or my grandkids to be in society now, because man, you got kids being victimized, kids being raped, kids being part of human trafficking.
That's insane.
There's some other crazy stuff that you don't even want to hear that is the kids are being used for. It's out there. It's the truth. It's life. It's part of it. It's around us. But again, if you're in that bubble, you won't know shit until something might happen to you, and then you're like, oh my God, I should have known exactly what I have to prepare my kids for.
Yeah. Lost One also asks in the chat, this is a little bit off topic too, what is Kung's favorite fighting moment? I'm sure you have a ton of them.
I think my favorite fighting moment is against my fight against Frank Shamrock. Okay, you know, taking that away from all my other fights, but that fight because it's for the world title. Scott Coker and I go way back, and he's been promoting me since the ESPN days, and then his transition from kickboxing into the MMA was like what the MMA community needed. Um, um, so that fight, not just for the Bay Area, but I think for the world, that all the minorities that thank you, all the minorities that look up to me as a refugee and coming to America and living the American dream, and getting behind someone. I came through for everyone. I came through for not just my race, but a lot of different races, and I came through for the sport because I was willing to take the risk and showcase my skill set in on a platform that was seen around the world. So I felt like that was a special fight for me. And Scott told me the other night that they're going to air that fight again soon. I think it's going to be on Showtime. I'm not exactly sure, but they're going to air it, and they're going to have Scott Coker's and another commentator's perspective of that fight and what that fight did for him and what that fight did for Strikeforce.
Very nice. And they're also, they're bringing you back to the other topic. They're saying Kung Lee should think about making a documentary on this corruption. Is that something that you've considered?
First of all, the corruption that I'm gonna there's already we have a investigative reporter who wants to do a documentary. I'm thinking about it, but I think it's gonna make for a great book. But at the same time, right now, I got Deborah. I Her last name is not spinning off the top of my head, but my my business partner Jeff Arcio and he brought Deborah on, and she used to run the PR for Paramount, and so she has a amazing that contact list, and she's gonna open it up to us, and she wants to get behind my girlfriend Sunshine, and we're gonna do we're gonna do something where we're gonna expose the system, and then the documentary can come later, But right now we're more worried about the press. We're more focused on getting her kids back, because just imagine, it's coming on a year since they took her kids, and it's to the point where they won't even give her a chance to talk to her kids. And she was never married to these guys, the deputy sheriffs. It just happened that the people behind that system in those areas in Kentucky, Boyd, Greenup, um, Ashland, they all suck, and they can kiss my fucking ass, and I'm gonna bring the press to them, and I'm gonna expose them, and then the lawsuits will come, then the documentaries will come, then the books will come, and who knows what's gonna happen to these deputy sheriffs? Because I'm not scared. What are they gonna do to me?
Right.
When it's my time, it's my time.
Yeah.
And trust me, you're gonna come at me. Be ready for a fight unless you do it like in a ninja kind of way. But the man upstairs got my back, so I'm good.
Yeah, and you don't seem like you need too much help taking care of yourself there, Kung. I wanted to ask you, what else are you working on right now? What is it you're working on right now?
I'm working with Evoke Tactical and Bad Tactical. I started, I'm certified a gun instructor. I'm going to put a self-defense program together. I'm going to teach people how to use pepper spray because, not everyone can fight. Some are older, some are smaller,
Yeah.
some are not, don't have the right mindset. And so all they have to do is sidestep, spray, make sure that they don't walk into that spray, or there's different tactics. If you're in your house, you can spray your hallway, close your door, and then get in your, safety corner with the weapons that you need to use. And when whoever the assailant is going through your house, when he hits that area in the hallway, it's gonna all hit him, because it's like almost like a booby trap where you don't even know, because you can't see it until you breathe it, until it gets in your eyes, and then you're wiping your eyes and you're blowing your nose and you're coughing it up. Those are the things that I'll be teaching. It's not about how good you can strike, but at the same time, a lot of people don't understand. It's like, if you never trained to punch or anything, your natural reaction is going to be putting your hands up and flinching. So there's going to be some things that I will teach. So instead of just throwing your hands up, what you can use as like a headbutt, or your fingers, or the nails when you palm strike to scratching, because you'll have a fresh set of skin underneath your fingernails, and that's DNA. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you can be doing, that you can you know give yourself a better chance to survive in these situations, especially pepper spray, or having a blade, or if you don't know how to use it, it could be used against you. But it's better to have it and know how to use it than not have it and have someone who's bigger and stronger than you, and who's been stalking and watching your everyday movement for the last couple of days, and they know the time you leave your house and the time you come back, and your everyday routine. That's how predators work. They study you, and if you're an easy target, you're going to be an easy prey for them. So
So besides the, I guess, self-defense courses and the back tactical, are you working on anything with regards to the entertainment world?
yes, I am. I don't want to give too much away, but I wrote two different scripts. One's for TV and one's um, for a movie, and it deals what pop culture wants to see. Like a modern day John Wick, with the twist of like the end of the world. And then the TV, I can't say much about that, because it's not fully done yet. But I think this TV show has great legs to be picked up on, and just like Supernatural, it's another version of that talks about the Bible, and God, and the balance of good and evil on earth, and what people do to open up, to have that evil in them. And I'm also going to be producing another show with my girlfriend's mom. She's a shaman,
Wow.
very high level, and she will critique all the ghost hunters or ghost adventures, and like people who have a spiritual battle, that deals with like a house that they feel like it's haunted, or they believe, like these guys say, oh, it's a kid spirit. There's no kid spirit. Sorry to break everyone's you know you know fantasy. It's a kid, it can't help you. No, it's just something else that she would explain. It's not in my skill set to explain it to you. So I want to produce a show that, so people can understand, and really look into the Bible, and for some guidance.
Kung, this is a totally separate topic, but you still look in great shape, man.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, yeah, you are still jacked. Are you still looking to compete? If not, what's going on with you from an athletic perspective?
I compete every day against myself. I have to stay on top of my game so my son doesn't kick my ass in a sprint. Eventually I'm gonna stop sprinting against him. And in wrestling, he's got a few takedowns. Of course, I'm not like fighting him with all my might, but I can't believe he just got a takedown on me. He's only 15. He had a great start in wrestling as a freshman, made the varsity team, but then he had a little accident. That was crazy, and that'll be part of the documentary and the book and all that. Or if you want to see what happened, is Anthony 185 Lee. We put a little story together. What happened to his season, why he couldn't continue to wrestle.
He's already your size.
No, he's about 130.
Oh,
But
okay,
he's
okay,
a little
okay.
beast. I'm sure when he's 18, he's the same size, the same weight as I was. He's about 5 pounds heavier than where I was when I was a freshman.
Gotcha.
But then I sprouted when I was a sophomore, so I'm waiting for him to sprout. And so far, it's already been like a 10-pound jump. So I think he is going to sprout too, but he hasn't hit my weight when I was a sophomore yet. So I don't want to tell him because he'll keep eating. He'll try to get there. And so I want him to get there naturally, not like I'm going to eat so I can be 140 like my dad is a sophomore.
Yeah.
So
no fights in your future.
No, I got other fights. I got a fight with these corrupt deputy sheriffs and CPS and the judge in Kentucky in Boyd County. I got a big fight. That I'll be bringing the storm to them, and then I got a big fight for all the Asian people, all these people that using this pandemic as an excuse to become racist and show their true colors. And I got a big fight with all those people. I wanna team up with all the social media influencers out there and whoever wants to join on and then want to fight with me and want to help my girlfriend and then get justice and get her kids back. They DM me on my Instagram and then or support us. There's a GoFund on Sunshine Spring Facebook page. You can get through there on my page, on my Facebook page. So anything will help. Any people, anything that people could do, whether it's a repost or a comment, it's helping. So
Cung, you look jacked, man. You're older than me, and I'm jealous of the shape that you're in. What is it that Cung Lee does? What is it that Cung Lee eats? How do we get to look like Cung Lee, brother?
Well, Cung Lee's been training since he was a little kid, and he's never had more than a month off. I've been training all my life, and there's through when I got to my UFC contract, I was getting injured left and right, and I couldn't really train the way I wanted. Something was hurting. I had an operation on my right elbow, then my left elbow, then my right elbow again. So I never really got to the shape that I was when I was when I was fighting for Strike Force. Then now, with the diet and of course, from everyone who's helped me train and the weightlifting, and then now. The good thing is my girlfriend, she's a nutritionist, and dieting really sucks, but when it really works for you and you're like, wow, I'm getting leaner, and I've always had the veins that pops out of my arms because I've always been lean, but like now that she's helped me cut out chocolate like almost every day, so I have it like once a week, but my cheat meals are now, it's like a cheat day. So the next day I don't feel good about what I ate that day because I ate throughout the whole day really bad. Yeah. So I don't want to do that again. So I'm starting to learn, like, let's just have 2 cheat meals during the cheat day that I have instead of cheating on my meals all day long. And plus for me, during quarantine, there's nothing else to do.
Right.
There's some days I've trained. I'll do like a 15-minute training, but I do that every single hour. So I'm awake for 8, 9, 10 hours. Put do your math. Look
Yeah,
how
that's
much
a
I've been
lot.
working out,
That's a lot.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, just right before this, I did just a set because right before I got on the show, I wanted to make sure I got my set of these crazy dumbbells, which I'll share with you guys later. It's literally a 10-minute workout. You never drop the dumbbells down. You can follow it on my YouTube page, or I'll put a little segment up on my Instagram, and then if you just take like every other hour. So if you're awake 8 hours and you do it like four, so every other hour is like 4 hours in a day. You're doing 15 minutes. Look, you already got a full workout in.
Yeah, yeah.
You already got a full workout in, and every single hour you're getting jacked because you're just working as lightweight, but you don't ever drop the dumbbells. And on top of that, I'm throwing a couple hundred punches every single hour.
Wow.
And also kicks. My friends all just throwing kicks too. It's like everyone's like staying away from me in the house when I'm throwing kicks. I got to get my 10 minutes in.
Kung, but a lot of people are sitting around. They don't have that mentality. They're sitting around. They're vegetating on the couch. They're eating junk all day. I mean, a lot of it is mental. How can we help improve that mental to be able to do what you're doing and get up and work out for 15 minutes every hour, every other hour, whatever it is?
Start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because if you go 10 hours every single day, if you're awake for 10 hours and you put in 5 minutes every single hour, you got 50 minutes in already.
True.
Like nowadays, my workouts never go more than an hour unless I'm training with my son, right? If it's just for myself, it's between 15 to 40 minutes, and I go nonstop, no breaks.
You mentioned cheat meals. You get 2 cheat meals on your cheat day.
I get the whole day as a cheating. I can eat whatever I want on that day.
Yeah.
But a few times I like really splurged, and every single meal was a cheat meal, and I felt sick that night. So now for me, I just like 2 cheat meals where I eat like a full pizza to myself, and then
Nice.
chocolate in moderation. You're good.
So pizzas. What are your go-tos, Kong?
Yes, pizza. Lots of pizza and chocolate. Yeah.
And you mentioned your son. I mean, not everybody who's a fighter wants their kid to become a fighter. A lot of the times they don't want their kid to become a fighter. It sounds like your son may be on that track. Is that something you want for him?
I have 3 sons, 2 from my first marriage and one from my soon-to-past marriage.
Gotcha.
My middle son definitely has that. He wants to be that. He wants to be a fighter. He wants to do what I've done. And then my youngest, I'm not sure what he wants to do yet. And my oldest, he's probably the most athletic out of all my kids, but I pushed him a little too hard, and I think I burnt him out. So I learned the hard way with him because I was just on him so much, and I think he just got burnt out and didn't want to do it anymore. So I think I got to take responsibility for that. And I pushed him too hard. So you parents out there, make it fun for your kids. Don't make it don't make it where they have to do it. Make it to the point where they're like, hey, I'm going to be late for practice. Let's go. That's what you want,
Right. Kung, 3 boys. You only make men, Kung. It takes a man to make a man, is what they say.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm with a beautiful girl who's like all about me. We haven't talked about kids yet, but we'll see what happens. It's in God's plan. So, if God wants me to have another kid, then I'll have another kid. So we'll see.
It sounds like you definitely found a person you're very compatible with, and I'm very happy for you on that one, Kung. Kung, I've actually, when I reached out to you for this, and I have to shout them out. It was because basically Dan Bam Bam Stell told me, hey, what would you say to me getting Kung Lee on the show? I said, man, that would be incredible. and he helped make it happen. So big shout out to him and the IKF. That's actually one of the sanctioning bodies that sanctions our shows. You were an IKF light heavyweight champion in kickboxing. Am I right, or is it Sancho?
Yes, yes. I'm a world champion for IKFC Fossum. Of course, does a great job, sanctioning, all the fights. And then Bam, actually, I met him at my first Draka fight in LA. And I met him for the first time. He ref my fight. And then after that, he's all, "Hey, come, you can ask for any price you want with these promoters. After a performance like that, make sure you get paid." I'm like, "Oh, thank you," and I took his advice, and I said, "Hey, I want to, and I should have went a little higher. I want this much," and they're like, "Okay, sure." I'm like, "Oh man, I need a manager to help me out because I'm doing this all backwards."
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, I mean, very cool. I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite rule set? Before I let you go, what was your favorite rule set? Did you prefer MMA? Did you prefer kickboxing? What's your favorite, Kong?
Everything has its own challenge, but like with MMA, because there's so much that you have to worry about from from submissions to strikes and the smaller gloves, foot locks, chokes. I mean, it's like top of the fight food chain.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's it's uh it's definitely the most toughest to compete in, but it's the most challenging. But like my thing was the punch, kick, throw. So when
Yes.
it comes to that, the way I put my punches together, the way I put my kicks together, and how I flow into the takedowns, that was like what I excelled a lot with. But challenging myself in the toughest combative sports in the world in MMA was definitely really awesome too, because I won a world title. A lot of people say I started too late, but again, those are the people that don't understand. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't look back and say I should have started earlier, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I did what I did. Let's move forward. Let's focus on what's in the future.
And you became a
How can I
champion
still
doing it.
inspire?
And you
You know?
became a champion doing it. I wanted to ask you one more thing. Kung, you were a decorated wrestler as well as a striker. What was more difficult, wrestling or striking, in your opinion?
Of course, striking. Wrestling, you grab, you go for the takedowns,
Yeah.
but striking, it's a different game. When you get hit, you see stars. Then you get kicked, but at the same time, what I did was not just the striking. I had the element of the takedown, the wrestling in there, so I got best of both worlds. Then when I found MMA, there was another element, and there's multiple elements inside, like the cage. So it's Scott Cookers told me something about 3 weeks ago when I talked to him. He says, "Come, I like to say everything that you've done, all the from point fighting to taekwondo to continuous sparring to full contact sparring to Shidokan to kickboxing to sanda to fighting on a liatai, fighting kung fu styles. You've done it almost. You fought on every single platform, and you're a champion at every single platform. Not too many martial artists out there, even at the best of their game, has done that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've achieved a lot." And I didn't really, you know, I didn't see what I've done until Scott Coker brought that up to me. I'm like, wow, thank you, Lord. Thank you for the abilities and all that I've done. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. So I just have to thank the Lord.
You're definitely a legend in a lot of our eyes, Kong. When I reached out to Bam for this interview, and I reached out to you, I must say I was like, oh, I hope he'll let me do this. You told me, all right, let's do it. Maybe 15 to 20-minute interview, and we'll be good. But I've had the honor of now being on this interview with you for over an hour. And so I don't want to continue to take your time, Kung. I just want to thank you so much on behalf of myself and a Knucklehead Nation, which is what we call the people that tune into the show, on behalf of everybody at the IKF and FightersRep. Thank you so much for your time in this interview. You know, I really hope to have you back because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot more questions I can ask you, but I've been over an hour and 10 minutes with you now, and I don't want to get my butt kicked by you, Kung.
No. You're safe. Don't worry. Hey, to all the Knucklehead fans out there, and I'm sure my fans will jump on and watch this interview. Thank you. Thanks for the support. If you want to support the first responder, go to Evoke Tactical and purchase one of the shirts. And if you want to support my cause and my girlfriend's cause in corruption, hit DM me or reach out to her on her her Instagram messaging or Facebook. Okay, so thank you. Be safe, but be ready. God bless.
Thank you so much, Kung, Knuckleheads. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for joining. And until next time, keep it clean. I'm the FightersRep with the legend Kung Lee, and we're out.